Hello there and welcome to Inkquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen review. This will be the last review of 2024, and although this pen arrived too late to be included on my list of the best fountain pens of 2024, it will be on my top pens of 2025, I have no doubt whatsoever. This is the new model Edison Elysian in Jonathan Brooks Elvenwood acrylic. I'm lucky enough to have the first provided for social media review. Thank you, Brian. I'm so excited to show you this amazing pen, so let's get to it right now. Those of you that have been following my guest hosting on Applebaum podcast, Applebaum Bites, will know that we interviewed Brian Gray of Edison Pens a couple of weeks ago, and he offered to send me a new model that he has just developed, and it's here in this package. So let's open it up. And here is the box. And a few other things. And Brian mentioned that he was going to send me a pen rest. He manufactures these at Edison Pens, and it's made of solid wood. Wow, very nice. Look at that. Not sure what kind of wood this is. It might be walnut. It's the Edison logo on it. It looks like walnut. We'll see. Made with pride in Ohio. Thanks from the Edison Pen Company, this notepad was made in-house on HP Premium 32-pound paper in our facility in Huron, Ohio. Thank you for supporting small independent businesses like ours. Brian, Andrea, Jake, Aaron, and Sean of the Edison Pen Company. Isn't that nice? And something just came spilling out here. It's a sticker from Edison. Very nice. And what's this? It's a display for your pen. There we go. So we put tab A in slot B, fit it in there, and there we go. And it sits just like this, and your pen goes there. This is made out of some kind of fiberboard, MDF, something like that. And here's the box. Plain black cardboard sleeve, and the Edison box with the Edison foil stamped light bulb fountain pen logo. And there's the pen. This is the Edison Elysian in Jonathan Brooks Elvenwood acrylic. And we have a number of things here. We have a bookmark, and we have another bookmark and another sticker from Brian, Edison Pen Company, and the pen itself resting on the bed. Let's take a look. This is the new Elysian model that Brian has developed. But this material is just striking. Look at that. Sparkly, chatoyant, reddish brown, looking like, well, root beer. It looks like root beer to me. And a gold-plated cap band with nothing on it. Very, very minimalist. I love it. I asked him to send me a 1.1 stub, and that's what he has done. That's very, very nice. Well, I'll have to think about what ink I'm going to put into this pen. I'll show the parts and features of this pen, some size comparisons and measurements, and then provide a writing sample. And then I'll talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about this fountain pen. But first I want to highlight what is so extra special about this fountain pen. It isn't just the pen itself, it is how the pen is designed and manufactured, and is mostly about this marvelous American pen company, the Edison Pen Company, founded and operated by Brian and Andrea Gray in Milan, Ohio. In a pen world filled with Chinese knockoffs and famous U.S. brands manufacturing their products offshore, but promoting them as, quote, all-American, it's refreshing to see a small American pen company creating unique, exquisite, quality fountain pens you'd normally expect to see coming out of Germany or Italy. We'll get to this pen in a moment. But I wanted you to hear Brian Gray talk about how he designed and developed this Elysian model, as it is a fascinating insight into the design process and shows his obvious passion for his marvelous products. Joost Applebaum and I interviewed Brian on the Applebaum Bites podcast back in November.
The internals of this proved to be about the most difficult pen that I designed, which is kind of counterintuitive because it looks so simple. But the interior was really difficult to pull it off the way that I wanted to. But this was kind of an exercise in curves. And I think that what a lot of people like to look at is when you remove the cap, the section has this curvature shape that is very elegant and tapers outward towards the nib. And then it posts very deep. So in my hand, it feels very nicely like this, but this cap actually posts to a point of where, and this is rare in a fountain pen design, but this actually posts to be a shorter length than when it is capped, which I've never done that before. I know it exists, but it's kind of a rarity in fountain pen design. But I do not post my caps, generally speaking, but I have to post this pen because I love so much how that fits into the web of my thumb, if that makes sense. And it's also about the longest section that we've ever designed. So far, the reaction to this has really been great. A lot of people say that they really love the shape, but then when they hold the pen in their hand, they're kind of like, wow, this is different. And I'm not lying. This is now my favorite pen in my collection, even though it's mine. It's my Edison, you know what I mean? So that's the Elysian, and I've been really happy and proud of the design and the way it all turned out. And yes, everybody has said that this is the most common comment that I get is like, this should be a Harry Potter wand. Right? It looks like a magic wand in this situation here. Without that engraving, this is an example that we did out of a Jonathan Brooks Nebula material that I think looks really, really cool.
The Elysian model is not available anywhere but from Edison pens directly. Edison basically has two divisions in their production, the production line and the signature line. You can consider the production line off the shelf and the signature line individually created bespoke fountain pens. The production line is not available for sale directly from Edison. You have to get it from one of their retailers. The four models available at their retailers are the Comet, the Beaumont, the Collier, and the Menlo. And there are 9 U.S. and 3 international retailers. The U.S. retailers are Anderson Pens, Atlas Stationers, Goldspot Luxury Pens, Goulet Pen Company, Independence, Pen Boutique, Pendleton Brown, Stilo Sweet, and Truffet. And the international retailers are Applebaum in the Netherlands, Wonder Pens in Canada, and the Writing Desk in the UK. Here is my Collier in antique marble, which was the #1 pen on my top pens of 2024 list. You can see my review of the Collier by clicking right up here. I chatted with Brian online after we had recorded that interview, and we made plans for him to provide me with one of the new Elysian models for review. He's only given me this pen to review, and I have to return it to him or purchase it myself. Within moments of holding and writing with this pen, I knew it wasn't going anywhere. I'm so in love with this fountain pen. It's not only a joy to look at, it's sublime in the hand, and that 1.1 stub nib is glassy, smooth, and wet. But my enthusiasm is getting ahead of me here. Let's take a look at this incredible fountain pen. Overall, the pen is a standard length. Here it is next to my Lamy Vista for scale. You can see it's just slightly longer than a Lamy Vista. If you don't have a Lamy Vista, here it is next to a banana for scale. If you don't have a banana, get one. They're great.
Big banana, long banana, short banana, wide banana. Let's get bananas tonight. 5, 4, 3, 2, banana.
There is no clip, and the profile of this pen is very unusual. It has a very long concave cap with a wide gold-plated cap band, which is also concave in shape. And the pen barrel tapers down dramatically to the point, making it look almost like a desk pen. The top is much wider than the bottom, and the top has a black acrylic insert in it that is almost imperceptible against that dark acrylic. And let's do another beauty pass for this amazing Jonathan Brooks Elvenwood acrylic. It's hard to describe the depth and chatoyance of this mesmerizing acrylic when you see it with the naked eye. This is a premium acrylic, of course, and you'd expect to pay more for this, and you do. So already this is a very interesting pen, but then you remove the cap and it becomes something else entirely. The cap unscrews with one rotation to reveal the long tapering section of the same Brooks acrylic, which tapers in the opposite way for most every other pen you see with a tapering section. It goes from a relatively thin 9.4 millimeters here to a quite wide 10.9 millimeters here at the top. And there's a small curved bottleneck right here down near the cap threads that eases the jump from the barrel to the section. So this part here is very smooth. And I tend to rest my thumb here. So this is a nice bit of design thinking from Brian. And here is the number 6 size Jovo steel 1.1 stub nib and black plastic feed. The nib has the Edison pen nib light bulb logo laser etched onto it, and the nib size is here on the shoulder. The nib and feed are part of a nib assembly that unscrews for swapping and maintenance. The section unscrews to reveal the included top quality standard international converter. And look at the length of the barrel against the length of that converter. You can see that the tolerances are very tight to fit the entire length of the converter into the barrel and still have that long taper. There's no metal on the base of the section or in the barrel, so this pen can be eyedroppered and will take 2.6 milliliters of ink, which is quite a lot considering the small tapering cavity of the barrel. And Brian has provided a generous number of cap threads there to help seal the barrel in case of eyedropping this pen. I've had my Collier eyedroppered since I got it, and I've had no issues with that pen leaking here at the section. I would still add some silicone grease to those threads, however, just to be safe. The inside of the cap shows a ledge milled into the acrylic to help seal the nib from evaporation, because the top of the section meets up with that ledge to make the seal, as you can see through the semi-translucent acrylic. Even though the Elysian is comfortable in the hand, unposted, when you post the cap, this is when it gets very, very interesting. Look at how deeply that cap posts on the end of that barrel. It's almost the entire length of the cap. And then the pen becomes a completely different profile and is actually 10 millimeters shorter in length than when it's capped. And that bamboo curve of the cap now sits right into the web of your hand. Very, very comfortable. Of course, Inkquiring minds are now calling this the thumb crutch. This is just ergonomic magic on the part of Brian Gray. Much thought has gone into every aspect of the dimensions and shape of this pen. And now that the pen is posted, in addition to the comfort I now have in my thumb crotch, my thumb falls into that lovely little curve and the section tapers up to meet my fingers, giving me the kind of girth I like in a section, and that's like more than 10 millimeters. And with the wider width at the top of the section, that number 6 size nib now looks nicely proportional. It's just design magic. The Pen BBS 323 was the most ergonomic desk pen I had ever experienced up to now, but the Pen BBS 323 doesn't post. And the Elysian has everything, and the design is nothing short of genius. It's a smaller pen, so if you're comfortable with larger pens, this might not be the pen for you. I do like larger pens, but I'm finding if the pen is well designed ergonomically and well balanced in the hand, the size doesn't matter so much. I mean, I love my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in Jonathan Brooks Earth Magic 2 acrylic, but I also love my Pilot E95S, which is at the other end of the size scale. And they both feel marvelous in my hand. Balance and ergonomics are everything when it comes to the pen feeling right in your hand, in my opinion. The Edison Elysian is available from the Signature line directly from Edison. When you contact Edison on their website about purchasing your Signature line pen, you'll be in direct communication with Brian Gray, as he does all of the communication with customers about putting together your bespoke pen. You have literally hundreds of materials from which to choose, and then, depending on the model, you can choose which type of filling system, hardware, and nib options you want. The Elysian model is only available as a cartridge converter eyedropper, but has many nib options. Steel nibs are available in sizes EF, F, M, B, double B, 1.1 and 1.5 millimeter stubs, extra fine flex, and fine flex. 18 karat gold nibs are available in sizes EF, F, M, B, double B, and 1.1 millimeter stub. Other models have number 8 size nib options, like the Jameson model, which I'm considering for my next custom-made Edison. And the Jameson model is available with Brian's modern version of the Parker Vacuumatic that he calls the Draw Filler. I can't wait to get one of those in my hands. The Elysian is $250 with a steel nib or $350 with an 18 karat gold nib in US dollars. There's a further $20 upcharge for the more expensive acrylics like this Jonathan Brooks. Well worth the price if you ask me. Now let's look at some size comparison. And here is the Edison Elysian in Elvenwood Jonathan Brooks acrylic with a Pen BBS 323 in Amber as a Cat, an Edison Collier in Antique Marble, a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in Jonathan Brooks Earth Magic 2, and a Pilot E95S. Quite the range of different size pens, from the very large to the very small. Let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. And here's where the magic happens. The Elysian is almost as short as the 323 is unposted, which it doesn't post anyway. Either does the Edison Collier. And the Momento Zero Grande is very long posted, a very thick pen, but you can see that the top of the sections are almost the same size in thickness. Of course, these three are steel nibs. This is an 18 karat gold number 6 size nib. This is a 14 karat gold inlaid nib on the Pilot E95S. Now let's look at them all unposted. And here they are unposted. And of course, the 323 Pen BBS and the Edison Collier are designed to be written with unposted, but the Pilot E95S is not. It's not writable unposted. It's designed to post. But look at the length of the Elysian compared to the Momento Zero Grande. They're almost the same length. Very interesting collection of pens. Now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 JSM paper, and this is the Edison Elysian, and it has a number 6 size JoWo 1.1 steel stub. Let's check the wetness. Well, very, very wet, and this nib is ultra smooth. Just a touch, a hint of feedback. And I've had JoWo stubs from many different locations. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I think the difference is how well tuned this nib is. With the attention to detail that every pen gets, especially these bespoke made-for-you pens, you know that it's not getting out of Brian's factory without that nib being tested. And I asked Inkquiring Minds members what ink I should match with this pen, with this acrylic. And one of the suggestions was, this is from the Diamine Inkvent calendar from a couple of years ago. I think, might have been last year, I can't remember. This is called Yule Log, and it is a wonderful chocolate, brassy kind of brown that has a copper shimmer to it. You're going to lay down some ink here, and when we let that dry, you might be able to see that shimmer coming through. So the ink is Diamine Yule Log. And I thought it was appropriate to have a Yule log at this time of the year. Not in the sense you think I meant log, but in a, you know what I mean.
Yule log. Not a log. I don't have a log, but I mean, you know, if I had a log, not in the sense that you think I said I did. 'Tis the season to be merry.
Well, that's my name.
Oh, shit.
Now, has that ink dried yet? Is there a shimmer there you can see? Yes, right here. You might be able to see that copper shimmer. We've got a lot of copper shimmer over here. Look at all that copper shimmer. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. So much so I'm wondering whether they'll have individual bottles of this color available. I should look it up because this isn't going to last too long. And the line this nib makes horizontally is thinner than it is vertically, of course, because this is a stub. And that goes from about 0.3 to between 8 and 9. Let's call it 8 millimeters. And you can call that anything you want because people get in their knickers in a twist about what you label things. You can call this one Frank and that one Fred. But it goes from about extra fine to about broad to double broad. And for our quote. And for some reverse writing, why you would want to reverse a stub is beyond me, but it's a little scratchy, but it does it. Why? And for some quick writing. No issues whatsoever with that feed. So what do I like and what do I not like about this fountain pen? Well, I love everything about this fountain pen. But what I love more than the incredible Jonathan Brooks acrylic or the juicy 1.1 stub nib or even the sublime way the pen feels in the hand when writing is how Brian has blended the design's form and function. Form follows function is a design principle that states that the shape of an object should be primarily related to its intended purpose or function. This principle is often associated with the industrial design of architecture from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The principle was popularized by architect Louis Sullivan and has been a guiding principle for modernist architecture and industrial design. An architectural example that exemplifies that principle is the Guggenheim Museum in New York City, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. I'm not saying this is the Guggenheim Museum, I'm just saying this is a wonderful example of the blend of form and function in object design. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you'll find just as many people who don't like this fountain pen who find this fountain pen attractive. Go figure. Each to his own. But one thing is beyond dispute here. Brian Gray has worked hard to perfect a unique fountain pen design vision. His passion and diligence in creating as great a product as he can is laudable. This model may not be right for you, but you can be sure whatever model you prefer from Edison Pen Company, the product you receive will get individual attention and excellent personal customer service. Thanks go out to Brian Gray and the Edison Pen Company for providing me with this excellent work of art for review. And you will not be getting this pen back, Brian. Call me. We'll talk. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching. And a very happy New Year to all inquiring minds out there. That's all she wrote.
I made this.